What is up, 5-0 fam? Welcome back to another episode of the 5 O'Clock Hustle podcast. This is episode number 33, and sorry if I sound a little weird today because I'm recording on my iPad, and it's using my iPad's microphone, so I probably don't sound great. Long story short, I left all the equipment at Dean's house. But don't worry about that. We have an amazing interview for you today with the legendary Dr. Chris Zaino. Dr. Zaino is a former Mr. America and founder of one of the largest chiropractic firms in the world. He shares with us his incredible story on how he bounced back from a life-threatening disease, a terminal illness that he almost gave up on. But you know what? He didn't give up. He kept fighting, and he found his way back to health, and he came back better than ever. It is an incredible journey that I can't wait for you to hear, and we were just awestruck hanging on to every single word. Dr. Zaino since then has found a new purpose in life by sharing his story and experience with people looking for answers. And today, he's achieved this with his I Am Hero movement. And today, he's offering an awesome 6-part video series called The Hero's Secret Sauce, where you'll find some incredible learning on how you can beat complacency and realize your goals. You can grab that free video series at 5o'clockhustle.com/IamHero. Okay, let's get this thing started. I'm so pumped for you guys to hear this, and just first of all, get a notepad and grab some tissues because it's a really tough story, and I just want you to be prepared. Anyways, keep hustling, everybody, and Dre, start the show.
5 o'clock hustle.
5 o'clock hustle, bro.
5 o'clock.
5 to 8, 5 to 12, 5 to 3 until you get back up the next morning.
Every week I got a new idea.
And that's what it always is, right? It's crazy.
5 o'clock.
I was doing that in 2005, but everybody thought it was weird.
5 o'clock.
Thus, the side hustle was created.
5 o'clock hustle podcast. Man, they're having so much fun.
Dr. Chris Zaino, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Hey, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Everybody listening, thanks for being here. I'm going to have a great time.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I want to get everybody up to speed. We got touch with each other on Instagram. It's such an amazing tool, and you're crushing it on Instagram, especially with that IGTV stuff. You know, it's so early in the game, and you already have this whole new show going on and everything. I can't wait for you to tell everybody about it. But I just want to, like I said, let's get people up to speed. And why don't you just give us your bio and tell us what you're all about, what you do, and a little bit of your background.
Yeah, and can I just, before you jump into that, I just want to say, man, I mean, we've all absolutely done our homework on your history, and your path and your journey, we're really excited for you to share with all of our listeners. So yeah, jump right in.
Oh, yeah. Thanks so much. So, yeah, let's go back to 1998. And when I do tell my story and my journey, I'm going to distill life lessons or things that all of us will be able to apply no matter where you are right now in your life. So understand, I might tell my story and you might be like, well, that's not related to me, but I will tell you the lessons in there so you don't have to go through it or be able to apply it right now. So in 1998, I'm 21 years old. I just graduated from the University of Central Florida with my degree in exercise phys. That year, I also won the Mr. America, so I have this title. I'm a degree. I live in Orlando, Florida. My dad also passed away, so it was a very big year of my life. And the cool thing in 1998 is when you live in Orlando, Florida, and you have this title and you have this degree. I worked with a lot of the Orlando Magic privately.
Nice.
And then in Universal Studios, there was a show back in the day called Xena Warrior Princess.
Oh yeah, we know Xena.
Right.
We don't know Xena.
Yeah, right. So the cool thing about Xena, they filmed all of their main stuff in New Zealand, kind of like Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
And a lot of the the close-up stuff they would do at the sets of Universal Studio Florida. And back then, that was the truly first show that you had to have that gladiator look physique, right? Yeah. So I was hired. I was the on-set trainer with all the celebrities to get them in that shape before the movie 300 came out. And it was great. I mean, 1998, the internet's coming up. I started writing for a huge site today called bodybuilding.com. So that's
Absolutely.
$1 billion company. So it was just cover of magazines. And at that time, at 21, I'm like, all I have to do is just do this for the rest of my life and I'm good. And a lot of times in your life, you get to a point you're like, if I could just sustain this, everything's going to be great.
Right.
So fast forward to, I'm 26 now. I meet my wife, Whitney. And then about 6 months into our marriage, all of a sudden, I just started going to the bathroom a lot. No big deal. Then I start bleeding every time I go to the bathroom. And I'm getting nervous. And I'm going to the bathroom 13 to 15 times a day. Have that, just blood. And I'm freaking out. So I do what a lot of us do, right? We go on Google. We play Google MD. And I type in blood and stool. And the first thing that pops up is cancer. So I'm sitting there 26 years old looking at this thing going, my dad died when I was 21. That sucked. And then I never met my grandfather. He died of cancer. Yeah. And I really was led to believe up to that point in my life that health, what would happen to your body was mainly like genetics. So I really wasn't educated on, or we were not taught in school about epigenetics, which is big today, which is you are in control of your environment. And I just got scared, right? So I just hit delete. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my wife. And then my whole life started to get controlled by this experience, this issue. If I had to be on this podcast right now, I would not eat for 8 hours, let's say, just so everything would go through me. And when I would go to a restaurant or a store, I would go to the bathroom first to scope out the bathrooms. And the day my wife found out, I went to a TJ Maxx on a Sunday, and the bathrooms were under construction. I'm like, dude, where's the bathrooms?
Oh, no.
And the guy's like, just go next door to Sports Authority. And so I was just so nervous because, like, what happened? So I don't get to the bathroom because I was carrying clothes in my car because you didn't know if you'd have an accident. And I'm walking out, and probably in front of maybe about 40 people, I just lose my bowels in public. Yeah. And that was the first of many. I'm just telling you the first time. So I lose my bowels in public. And it's in front of these people. And listen, chances are no one ever saw someone, lose their bowels. And so, but it's not something you could hide. I mean, it's blood. So people are freaking out. And that was the moment where I realized how bad what happened to it was like, what the hell happened to my life? It's like, that was the moment where I was like, this is rock bottom. Like I just cannot believe what's going on right now. So I ran out of the loading dock, called my wife. She picked me up. I was on the front seat in this little Ford Escort we had. And we went to the hospital. And that day I was diagnosed with an incurable terminal disease called ulcerative colitis. And so what this is, it's an autoimmune disease where my body was literally eating itself from the inside out. They put me on a ton of drugs like prednisone, and another drug gave me hepatitis. So I'm being treated for hepatitis and this ulcerative colitis. And nothing's working, guys. And I'm getting sicker and sicker. And then I went to Dallas, Texas, and I had 4 of the top doctors in the world. And they're giving me low-dose chemotherapy. They're giving me interferon injections for the hepatitis, Remicade infusions, and an organ rejection medication. So if you guys are listening, an organ rejection medication is, God forbid you ever get a organ transplant, your body would immediately reject it and fight it. So an organ rejection drug shuts down your immune system down at the level of the DNA. It still fights it, but it'll take 5 or 10 years, let's say. So now I'm a bubble boy, right? So I have immunosuppressant drugs, wearing a mask, nothing's working. So I went from 230 pounds all the way down to 158 pounds. Nothing was there. Nothing was left.
Damn.
My entire identity. I want you to understand something. Like, I started working out at 12, and here I'm 26. So 14 years. In high school, you guys got we all got kind of get known, right? Whether we played sports, but I was the AC Slater kid in school, right? So I was my entire life.
That was your full identity, yeah.
My entire identity of who I was ripped away. Everything I worked, it was ripped. I was broken. And the only option they said is listen, nothing's working. We're going to have to remove your colon. We'll have a hole out of the right side of your abdomen. You'll have a colostomy bag. It will break. It will leak. You may not even make it through the surgery because of the immunosuppressant drugs, because it's hard not to get a bacterial infection when you cut out your colon. You're sterile. I said, well, can I donate sperm? They're like, no, you're sterile. You'll never have kids. You'll be on $6,000 worth of medication for the rest of your life. Multiple surgeries, 80% chance of cancer, even with surgery. So we'll set you up for a week. And that was it. And I was one that's, I did what they told me to do. So it's fine, I guess this is it, So I was as prepared as you could be. And I went home to see my mom. And I already had a mom. So my mom, she lost my dad. And then she lost two of my brothers died. One died of a heroin overdose that my mom found. And another brother, he died of a freak accident. So now I got a mother who lost all the men in her life and losing her youngest son. And she sends out an email, and all the emails came back praying for her son. And then my anatomy teacher from high school, 10th grade, says, listen, I want to see Chris when he comes home. So when I came home, I saw my anatomy teacher. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, listen, I need you to go see my doctor. He's a corrective care chiropractor. It'll totally change your life. And I looked at him like he was on drugs. I was like, I was almost insulted because, it's tough. Like, I went to the best in the country. So see, in life, guys, a lot of times we think we tried everything, right? We tried it all, or we went to the gurus and we did all these things, and we kind of start to eliminate other options. And I said, listen, thanks so much for caring about me, but you don't know. I tried it all. I tried everything.
Right.
And if you're listening and you're going through a tough time financially, maybe a relationship, maybe your health like I was, or even business, maybe you're starting up a business or something like that. When it comes to helplessness and hopelessness, when it comes to becoming a victim, and these are all the worst places you could ever be, because you'll never grow as a human being there. I just want to let you know is you'll never realize you get there. That's because it happened. It's like a disease. It happens so subtle, and you justify things. And he told me this when I said, listen, I tried everything. And then when you're in a circumstance that you don't want to be in, if you're in a circumstance right now, pay very close attention to the people in your life, or pay close attention to that next movie you see, or that book you read, or that line in the song, because there might be one phrase that talks to you in such a way, in such a time, that might change your perspective and change your life. And my anatomy teacher told me, he's like, listen, he goes, you didn't try everything, because if you tried everything, you would have had your health.
Yeah.
Right? You guys nailed it. So if you're listening right now and you're bumming, I'm telling you, you didn't try everything, because if you tried everything, you would have had your goal. You would have had your finances. You would have had that relationship. You would have had that health. And he woke me up. That's all I could tell. I was like, holy crap, because I pride myself on, I thought I was a strong, disciplined person, but I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that I felt I was clearly a victim. I'm like, wow, he's right. So I went to see this doctor. And, he taught me about the nervous system. Our brain controls everything, nothing that all of us didn't pass in school. And he showed me a blind spot. So again, we think we did everything. And, there could be blind spots in what we're doing. And because we said, hey, I tried everything, I don't know why it's not working, but there might be a blind spot that you may need a coach, you may need a mentor, you may need someone from an outside perspective to say, you're not seeing what I see. And he showed me pictures of my spine, and my lower spine was really wrecked, even though I didn't feel pain. And there was a bone underneath my skull that was crushing on my brainstem that controls your immune system centers, that I still didn't have pain, but it was shutting off my nerve supply to those areas. Mm-hmm. And there was the blind spot. But I was full, everybody gave me false hope. So this guy was no different to me. So I'm like, listen, everybody's telling me once they switch the drugs, I'll get better. So I said, listen, when am I going to get better? Because, right, guys, when you're going through a tough time, you just want one answer. When's this over? When's it going to get better? Right. And there's a line from Marianne Williamson, and she has a quote that says this: there is no enlightenment in shrinking for the insecurity of others. You guys get that? Meaning that no matter how much I was crying, no matter how much I was a victim, no matter how much I had a sob story, this doctor did not shrink to my level. Because you know what, guys, if you're trying to help someone, you cannot become so impoverished that you could help someone in poverty. You cannot become so sick to help someone in sickness. And he turned the tables right at me. He's like, listen, you're asking me when to get better? He's like, as long as you have this problem, right? Your body has no ability to be able to heal itself. He goes, and watch what he said. He points at me and he says, when you choose, pointing at me, he goes, when you choose to correct your problem that you have that's affecting your life and your future, then your body will be able to heal itself as it used to, and you'll get well. He's like, but the day and the time you're asking me, because it's not up to me, because that's between you and your body. He goes, but you will get better if you don't quit on yourself, no matter how long it takes. And in that moment, you know what he did? He put all responsibility on me. And I didn't realize, what was I doing that whole entire time, trying to get better? And a lot of times when we're in a bad place or we're trying to find the answers, what do? We're looking for a false savior. We're looking for somebody else to pull us out of the weeds. We're looking for someone else to give us the magic answer. And really, the whole answer, it's in us the whole entire time. It's our choice. It's our responsibility. No one's coming to save us except us. And so I had to take full responsibility over that. And guys, I wish I could tell you, and a week later, everything was great. But it wasn't. I could tell you that every day I saw blood in that toilet bowl every day, and it's tough when you're changing the equation, when you're making the resolve in your life, when you're doing the things you're supposed to do now, but you're still seeing the manifestation of what you definitely do not want in your life. But then I'm here to tell you, you just need to hang in there until one thing: momentum. You just need to hang in there until you see for yourself, because everybody's going to see it working. Like, that's the thing. Your friends will say, hey, you're doing good. I could say, but until you see, well, wait a second, I'm a little bit better. Wow, I'm not going to the bathrooms. Wow, and when you could start seeing it, for me, it was 5 months later. 5 months, guys, I was off the medication. I was bleeding a little bit less, stabilizing my weight. And then at 7 months, when I had momentum now, see, when you have momentum, you don't need faith, because it's knowing. You know you're in the right direction. You don't need to believe anymore. It's like, no, I got it. And at 7 months, the blood had stopped, and my body totally healed itself from an incurable terminal disease called ulcerative colitis, and that was 16 years ago.
Wow, man.
That's incredible.
That's incredible.
What an amazing amount of struggle you went through during that period of time. And like you said, it took you. Like every bit of you, it took you. And it's such a unique amount of struggle. Like, not a lot of people have that, and there's just so many incredible touch points throughout that amazing story. And I just kind of want to dive more into this and like get more into especially the mindset and what it really took for you to accept the fact that you were going to basically be the biggest person that was essentially healing yourself. Of course, you had help, but it takes a lot. And I also, like, how do you guys feel about this? Because
I mean, it's all resonating with me, because I have, recently just came into a similar situation, not with ulcerative colitis, but I have a hypothyroid disorder that I just found out out of nowhere. I started noticing my body's like, I'm reacting slower to things. I feel more sluggish. I'm inflamed. And next thing you know, I get hit with this, and, you get a million different, of course I go to Dr. Google, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? Like, how can I fix this? And you get all these diets and this and that. And, for me, it's just been a long process. It's only been about 2 or 3 months for me. As of now, I found out that I'm like allergic to 1 million of my favorite foods. So like cutting that out. So, it kind of gives me some hope, because this is you're battling something that was, quote unquote, uncurable. And, and I'm having my down days because I can't eat a burger because I'm allergic to beef, but, things are worse. And it gives me the, it gives me the resolve. I have resolve, and I've battled a lot of different things in my life, and this one is kind of different, but I know that I can come out of it, because it's like you said, it's it's just that perseverance, and it's taking the time, and I'm starting to see some momentum on my side, so I'm knowing like, hey, we're in the right direction. So I mean, it's great to hear it from someone so successful as yourself, and it gives me hope, man. That's all I'm really thinking right now.
And I will help you with that. Like, after this podcast, we'll connect outside. I've helped, I've seen over 17,000 patients. I'll definitely help you get to the cause of that 100%. So we'll continue to work after this call. So, but let's stick to what you guys want to do, because there's a lot of things we could talk on those points. So which ones do you guys want to hit on?
Well, I want to kind of share something too before we go. And this is Dean. So I don't really share this with a lot of people. I've never shared this on the podcast or anything. But so, have you heard of trigeminal neuralgia?
100%, man.
Okay.
It is the most painful freaking thing you could ever have. Are you going through that experience?
So my dad actually has it, and he's still going through it. He's been going through it for a very long time. In fact, he was put on hospice about coming up on a year ago, and he was really supposed to be dead, just because of the like what it's done to his heart and the stress it's put on it. And somehow he's fought his way to stay alive for the last year. So. It's hard, it really is. I think it's funny because I'm feeling it from a medical perspective, what you're feeling. I absolutely understand how it translates to, other areas and but it is really difficult to hear. There's a way. What kind of where there's a will, there's a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is something, especially, I mean, it's a rare circumstance. For people that don't know what trigeminal neuralgia is, it's called the suicide disease. You have a trigeminal nerve running basically from your brain through your face, and it's kind of just constant pain pulsing over and over and over again. And that's something that, so we've been around the world and we've seen numerous doctors and we've seen everything. So it's part of me honestly gets a little bit pissed, when I hear you talking about, you haven't tried everything, because I think maybe there are some circumstances, but maybe there aren't. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I have an interesting reaction to it, but I think it's nonetheless flooring. But yeah, that's where I'm coming from. I just felt like I needed to share that.
I mean, I know what your dad's going through, and and just how you feel right now, that you're like, no, we did try everything. Like, I appreciate you, because you're the only one that I've ever interviewed with that you really get the feeling I had, thinking, no, dude, you don't understand. Like, I'm not that person who just kind of half-asses. No, I did it all. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I am convinced, I am justified that I've done and tried everything.
Yeah.
And just the way he said it, it gave me that break in the floor that says, I mean, maybe, maybe there's that one thing, and
sure.
And I had to, because what I was facing was it was a death sentence to me.
Yeah.
It's tough. This is probably definitely the heaviest first 20 minutes of an episode that we've ever had, for sure. But it boils down to a mindset thing, really, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it was for you. Like, you had to choose for yourself.
I wish I could tell you guys I was like this super positive, like had this great mindset to go in there, but I was so scared. I was just scared. I was not able to make great decisions in fear. And, this is where you need those people in your life, because I was scared. I'm like, where are we going to get this money? We're going to do this. We didn't have money in the bank account. So you just become resolved. We got a credit card. We did what we need to do. But it really came down to, if I do the surgery, then I'll definitely never be able to have kids. I don't know if I'll make it. Like, I was just kind of future pacing that. And I just know that I had a life in me that I had to give it I had to give it a chance. And when, just for some reason, when that doctor told me, and he put it all on me, and he says, listen, you'll get well if you don't quit on yourself, no matter how long it takes. That was super important for me, because all of us would easily say 3 weeks into it, this ain't working. I've been doing this for 3 weeks. So I have a thing I talk about, 10 expectation, where we in our minds and our hearts, we think, well, I put in enough work, I put in enough time, I put in enough money. And if those viewers that are listening, the listeners here, it's very easy when you're going towards your goal. You're like, well, I would think with this amount of time, money, and effort I put into it, I should have had a ... a better result, whatever it is. And when you think about where'd I get that expectation from? Well, I don't know. I just felt I should have. And when you realize that, every successful person, I would just 10x it. So if you think it's going to take 3 months, just tell yourself it'll take 30. If you think it'll take $3,000, just say it's going to take $30,000. And not only will you set the expectation, you will not only hit your goal, but chances are you're going to overshoot that and take it further than you ever imagined. So just having that right expectation. But I was definitely not a very positive camper at all going through that. I was just scared, especially when you saw the manifestation of it. But when I tell my story, guys, I want you to see, which is really cool, and everybody that's listening, I'm a big superhero fan, of course. So, like, there was literally 2 parallel dimensions that were created by my choice. And I really think that really happens in all of our lives, whether it be your health, your finances, your relationships, your business. Now, 16 years later, let me just tell you where I am now. So 16 years later, I'm healthy, I'm whole, because I went through that experience. And notice I keep on saying the word experience, and I'll tell you why. But I went through this experience, and I went back to school to become a chiropractor. That's where I got my doctorate in, and there was no way on the radar I ever would have done that.
How old were you?
You see this, I was 27.
Wow.
Went back to school.
That's great. We have a lot of listeners, actually, that we've actually received a lot of feedback that's one of the strongest side hustles is working your job and also going to school to build towards something more. It's a huge undertaking for And a lot of people listening right now are really going to resonate with that. And it's a tough challenge, especially at that age, to convince yourself that, you know, you have to devote yourself to something that doesn't pay instant dividends. You know, it's like we're all about instant gratification. That's the root of exactly what you're saying, is that you got to put in the time. There's no 3 weeks. There's definitely a 10x happening there.
Yeah. Oh, it's there. You know, so I go back to school for it. And I mean, it was so funny. At 27, I thought I was too old. I mean, I'm 41 now. That's like, I'm laughing on that one. It's like, because you think, oh, well, I'm too old. What's going to happen? So, I mean, but here's the thing that gets you through it. This is how you get your side hustle. I found a purpose bigger than my fear. I was like, this changed my life. I had a personal experience for this. And when I have a personal experience, it wasn't just a job. It literally was like a new purpose for me to be able to help as many people as possible. So I go back to school, 2005, my wife and I, we opened up our office in Houston, Texas. All right. And we became the largest clinic in the history of my entire profession. We peaked at about 2,800 people per week. So let me give you an example. The average office sees we saw 2,800 people a week. And I'll tell you guys on the show exactly how we 28x'd any other office in history. And I was able to help hundreds of thousands of people, have a healthy wife, 2 beautiful sons, Justice and Titus, that I was never supposed to have, checked off all the boxes, 100% financial security, built the houses of our dreams, could do whatever we want, you know, Lamborghini in the garage, you name it, like just making such an impact. And everything my life has had in the last 16 years, talking to you guys, meeting everybody, all the listeners that we're connecting with right now, all of this that I'm telling you now would have never happened if I didn't make that choice. So what scares me when I tell my story is, what if I did go for the surgery? This is what happened. Maybe I would have made it. Maybe I wouldn't. I would have been under sick, suffering medical debt. Never would have been able to come out of that. I would have been divorced because I would have become a victim. I would stay a victim. And when you're not doing well, we take it out on everybody. So how much emotional abuse can my wife take? Not much. So we've been divorced. I don't know what happened. And you know what? If I was alive, my Instagram would have had like colitis survivor. Like I literally would have worn this disease as my significance and my identity. And that would have been the cards I would have been given. You know, I would have just rode that until I died. And realizing that it scares me so much that, here's the scary part, guys. If I went for that surgery, here's the thing. My last 16 years of my life, being with you guys right now, it never would have happened. And here's the scariest part of all. I wouldn't have ever known the difference. Wow. And that scares the hell out of me. Like, do you know what? Like I wouldn't have had anything to mourn. I wouldn't have sat back. Wow, I could have had this life, but I didn't. No. I just wouldn't have known any better. So how many people listening right now, you're a choice away or some type of action away of starting this like parallel journey of the life you were supposed to have, worthy of having, creative having, and knowing that if you didn't do that choice, you would have never been able to even mourn with the life and possibilities you have. So that's why it's just so important. Like when I look back now, the reason why I call it experience is when I lost my health at 26, I knew one thing. I didn't want to be sick, right? So we knew that. So if you're listening, like I knew what I didn't want. And a lot of times we focus on what we don't want in life. But you have to understand, when you realize what you don't want in life, there's another side of that coin. It clarifies what you really want in life. So at 26, I really wanted health because I knew I didn't want to be sick and I really wanted to be better. I just wanted to have a normal bowel movement. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I had such an appreciation for just things people take for granted. So I really knew what I wanted in life. And through that contrast, you know, looking back, like I could laugh about some stories of losing my bowels. I mean, I could laugh now. Well, how can I laugh? How can I do these things? Because I realized what I went through was not a disease. It was never mine. It was an experience of contrast that I went through. It became my greatest gift and teacher in my life. It made me who I am today, and my life everything I have up to this point would have never been possible if I wasn't placed in that unknown to have to resolve and get resolution and go through, you know, uncertainty and embrace different things and everything I had to go through in that journey, guys, it was such a gift and blessing in my life. And when you could get to the point where you could touch it with love, touch an experience in love, that was maybe horrible in your life, and you could touch it with love and see it as your greatest teacher, that's when your life really starts to change.
Yeah. And man, it's all really, really strong. There's so much to touch on it. So I've been on a Jack Welch kick lately. And one of my favorite quotes that have come across, in addition to the one that we posted on Instagram earlier today, he says, change before you have to. And so with that quote in mind, there are a lot of our listeners that don't necessarily know what they don't want to be doing, and they only have an inkling of what they do want to be doing. Like, how do you create that motivation without having that pain point that you're discussing?
Yeah, I had that same exact question. Because a lot of our audience knows, and like you guys know, I have a lot of my work, that a lot of the projects I'm working on have so many parallels with yours, especially with the hero type stuff and the hero's journey kind of subject matter. And one of the issues that I run into all the time is a lot of people never experience that kind of struggle, and they might have a version of it, but it's not enough to drive them to reach that next level and 10x their lives and follow their dreams and do whatever they do. They're just kind of in this plane of mediocrity that they're unable to go past because they don't have that struggle to push them there. What's that quote? With great struggle comes
with great responsibility.
That's Spider-Man.
Adversity breeds greatness.
Yeah, adversity. Exactly. Adversity breeds greatness. Yeah. And a lot of people haven't ever had that experience, and some people just are able to deal with the stress so much that even
they normalize. Yeah,
it's just normalized. So what do you say to people that are going through something like that?
I think you don't have to go through that. I just think I was a stubborn person who, I think some more times when we're stubborn and we're not listening, or what I call our heroic guidance system, and I'll talk more about that right after I tell you this. Our heroic guidance system is what we really acted on when we were kids. Like, so when we were kids, or if you guys have kids, we had imagination, we were playful, we were relentless, we were obsessive, we had desires, we were focused, we questioned limitations, we were forgiving. Our natural attitude was love. We lived in what I call vertical time. Like, now. When you want to do it now, it was all about now. It was about yesterday. It was past or future. It was about now. Our number one question was why. Our beliefs were formed easily. So when you look at all these things, all the qualities I mentioned, it's like people are spending $50,000 to go to masterminds to get these qualities. And our kids, when we were kids, we never read a book. We never read Jack Welch. We never went to a mastermind. So it proves us that we were born innately with those qualities. And you just said it, through teachers and preachers and dogmas in society and institutions, we have been told what to do and what to think. And literally we've been conformed into what I call a secret identity. So we forgot who we really were. So I think a lot of times it's about, there's some people that I was kind of a very control freak, and I almost needed the big what I call active health terrorism, or like an active terrorism, basically, right? That's, you put a gun to my head, you're going to get a response out of me. But if you're listening on this line and saying, well, I don't have a story like his, you don't need that story. I don't want you to have that story. But you know why? Because I didn't listen to that heroic guidance system, which is this. I didn't listen to my heart and intuition, because I was told as a man, you don't cry, you don't show emotion. With bodybuilding, when it hurts, you keep on going. When you don't eat food, you push through it. So I trained myself to not really listen to my emotions or my intuition and push through. And so the way or find that side hustle, the way that the thing to go after your dreams is you ask yourself, like, what do I do? Like right now, like I am in the moment of this, like, ask yourself, well, what do I do that when I do it, I have more energy, by the time I'm done doing it than when I don't do it. So like this podcast right now, I'm sweating right now. So there's clearly like a chemical hormonal reaction going in my body. They call it flow. It just, you're just in your true self. You're connected and aligned in who you were. Like if I gave you, what would you do? That whole thing. What would you do for free? If I gave you $100 million, what would you do? What is the thing that you do that you forget to eat or you don't need sleep? Everybody thinks they need a nap. No, like you don't need a nap. You're not depressed. If I put you in the zone of what you love to do, all of a sudden depression leaves. You're not tired anymore. You light up. You're in this zone. You think amazing thoughts. You have great. So like it's about being very sensitive to the buffet of life and really being okay with saying, well, who do I like? What do I like? I'll tell you right now, guys, I was 35 years old. I looked in the mirror and I didn't know who the hell I was. Because you know why? I was really a compilation of everybody else's values for my life. Yeah. I lived out what society wanted for life. I lived out what my parents wanted me to do in my life. Like I literally was living out everybody else's values for my life. And I didn't even have a relationship with myself to say, well, who am I and what do I want to do? And it's very depressing. That's where the depression and the numbness and the uncertainty and this feeling of fear comes in and worry, because we never gave ourselves a chance to listen to our heart and say, I like this or I don't like this. So for me, when I lost my health, it gave me such contrast. It made me wake up and say, well, hey, I definitely want to be health. So health became a focal point of my life. I got my health back, and now I have something that I experienced, now I could go and help others. And that was really, it's funny that you guys mentioned that. That was the whole entire reason on how I built my practice. Can I tell you that story real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to hear it. Good. Yep. So here was, guys. So if you're listening on the line, like this is how it happens. So when I would speak, I would get asked to speak, and I would have a book, and I would open up the book, and it had my written talk in it. So I just read it. So I was an orator, and I thought I had to impress people with fancy terms and knowledge. So I have big PowerPoints with lots of words on the PowerPoints and blinky shiny objects. So when I would talk, I would try to impress people with my big doctor words and show off, basically, because that's, I thought, what you had to do. And people would say it was good information, but I really didn't get much traction. Just people thought it was a good presentation. And there was really no spirit to it, so to speak. It was kind of flat. Mm-hmm. And then, but that's what I needed. That's what I used as a crutch. I used other things because I lacked faith, confidence, and belief in my message, because I thought I had just to myself. So one day I was asked to speak at the Houston Rotary. Now in Houston, the Rotary Club, you have a bunch of OGs in there, original gangsters in there. You got some billionaires, you got the big doctors and the neurosurgeons. So I was super intimidated because wow, how am I going to impress these people? And I was always worried about the people. How am I going to impress them so they like me? That was always my focus. Mm-hmm. And I was so nervous for like 2 or 3 days leading up to it that when I went to the place, I forgot my PowerPoint stick. I forgot the book. I forgot all my stuff that I used as a crutch. Like I was naked, basically. And so I called my wife. I'm like, I'm just going to flake. I'm leaving. I'm just going to do a no-show. She doesn't know what to tell me. She's like, well, you'll do great. She's, the success 101 answer. Right. And so I sat in that car. I said, listen, I'm just sick of trying to impress all these people. I'm like, there's only one thing I know I could do better than anybody else, and that's I could just tell my life. So if you're listening, you're worried about, I don't have this story, or I don't have this. Listen, no one could do your story better than you. So that's one thing I knew that no one could do better, is tell my life. And when I mean a story, it's not like, oh, and I almost died. No, it's like people want to know I grew up, you tell people I grew up in Long Island, New York. My dad, he was in, just like, you don't need this like life-death story, but you could definitely bank on that no one could tell your life better than you. So I went up there and basically naked with no stuff, and I was like, hey, I just kind of told my story. And I got like a standing ovation, which was pretty cool. And people came up to me, not asking for my card and good information, but they were wanting to book appointments and paying for the appointment right there. And I realized in that moment, I found something here. It's like, it's not about the content. It's like, in order to be I'm not a speaker, I'm not an orator, a speech deliverer. It's like, for me to build a business, to be able to influence people. And the only way I could influence people, the facade, I got to open up my chest and I got to be as transparent as possible and know that my story with the ups and the downs and the scars, all of it matters. And no one could do me better than me. And I started doing talks every 2 weeks, once a month. And that is the only the one thing I ever did to build my practice. And I just basically became like the Pied Piper. So now I knew that was a skill. I hired coaches to become a better speaker and influencers, right? So but I realized that anybody, like you step up and you tell, because everybody, you're listening right now, you think, well, no one wants to hear my story. Yes, they do. You're taking your life for granted.
Yep.
Everybody's been through a situation. You don't have to almost die to have the right to tell your story, but everybody wants to know, because we're all human beings. That's what we love about reality. We just always want to know people's lives. And that right there, if I could tell you, you want to build your business, you tell them your history and you tell them your story behind what you do, and that'll be your best tool ever, for sure.
Absolutely. And it's all about relating at a human level. I mean, at the end of the day, we are, like you said, all human beings, and we just want to know that the person on the other end of the table is real. And that is, I mean, I have a strong sales background, and when you let go of sales and you cling on to wanting to help other human beings by relating to what they're going through, it doesn't become a job. It becomes an enjoyable activity. And, it fits perfectly in line with what you're saying. Did you want to say something, Chris?
No, I'm just,
Okay,
it's just, there's just, it's something that the whole story just rings so like close to home for me, because, like people, like when you were talking about how, we're kind of raised to conform. It's just so true. Our entire culture is based around that fact, and only the brave are able to really kind of look past that and and see those little things that differentiate themselves and be okay with it and be comfortable in themselves and be confident. So I'm so thankful for this conversation. It's been one of the ones where like I'm more speechless, because I'm just like, wow, like this is like hitting me so close to home,
yeah.
So
yeah, and it's all
amazing.
right. I mean, it's all well in line with a lot of what we've been doing lately. You go back to Sasha Perelman and some of the lessons we learned from her, and you go back to our master series behind creation of ideas. This all just falls right in line with that. While you were speaking just now, one of the things that came up for me that I think a lot of our listeners would be interested in is how would you say that someone can distinguish between lack of persistence versus lack of passion? So when, everyone that's listening right now, most of them are entrepreneurs. Some of them just enjoy hearing goofy voices and having fun with us, which we love too. But, a lot of people are pursuing something that is important to them, but they may be on the fence about whether or not is really their thing, their why, their what, their whatever you want to call it. How do you're pushing at something and maybe it doesn't feel right, it feels difficult, or what I'm saying, like how do you know if it's the right thing, and you just need to persist and endure and keep pushing forward, or if maybe you should look elsewhere?
You so nailed it on the head. When you feel heavy, and here's the thing, you could start off in something maybe exciting, because what I love about you guys, everybody's young, even myself in my 40s. Because you don't realize we could start off really excited, awake, alert, like it feels like remember I said when I was 21, if I could just do this for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. Like you feel that like euphoric feeling. There, like here's I always say it like this: I would never use the word hustle or grind for what I do right now, because nothing feels grinding about it, and nothing feels like a hustle. Because when you find your thing in that moment, whatever that might be in that time of your life, and when you do, like right now I'm doing this, and all I have for you guys right now is just massive love and appreciation that I'm expressing and receiving at the same time. Meaning, I mean by love, let me define love, because as guys or girls, none of us really have been raised in an unconditional loving household because we're humans, right? So there's always a bit of conditional love. So let me define love. Love to me is appreciation. My definition is unconditional appreciation. I mean, like, man, I just, no matter what, unconditionally, I just appreciate you. Because here's the cool thing about appreciation. Things don't got to be positive for me to appreciate you. Like, we could just appreciate things, no matter if they're not positive. So when you're able to express and experiencing love in that moment, not conditioned, not knowing that, hey, when I make this money, then I'll be happy, or when this happens, I'll be happy. But when you could be just happy now and satisfied, yet eager, that's a beautiful place to be. I'm satisfied, but wanting so much more. Yeah. That's when, like, why wouldn't I want to stay in the zone with you guys right now? Like, my body is like, our bodies are there's chemicals being released in our body right now, and hormones, like, it's like we're in the zone. It's like, why would I ever want to leave this? So that's why we'll outwork anybody, we'll out hustle anybody, because it's like a drug that like, for me, when I talk to you guys right now, like, the reason why I appreciate you guys is because it's the time of my day that I feel like I came out of the water and took a breath of oxygen. Yeah. You follow what I'm saying? Like, you know what that would feel like if you were underwater and you come up for oxygen. So why wouldn't you want that in your life? So that's why it's so important. Like, what is that thing in your life that it feels like oxygen? But you let other people tell you.
That's such a good visual. Holy crap.
It's enlightenment.
I just did that. I just did that. Like, I closed my eyes and I didn't even mean to when you were saying that, but I was like, and it's just, I feel that too. This is awesome. I love you too, man.
So that's the feeling. And then, that's the feeling. But then we fear losing that love from other people, or criticism, or, hey, that's irrational, that's illogical. And so what happens, we start doing it. We put ourselves into jobs or relationships that they feel heavy. They don't feel passionate, so to speak. And you know why? Because you're not aligned with you. It's your saying, here's the thing, no one's lazy. I'll tell you that right now. And the thing is, like, people who seem lazy, they are just not doing what they were created to do. They're not in their lane. But I put someone who's in their lane, they're a mutant. They're like a superhero. They're just out of control. Yeah. And the passion, let me tell you the definition of passion. Here's another thing I talk about, where society, you have to understand, society has trained us so much to be mediocre that literally the language we were taught to use we could actually be putting us on the wrong map. So I have a whole bit called the hero's path. And the hero's path, most people, I'm going to read you guys these definitions. And
please,
if you're listening, just in your head, just tell me just how does it feel? So this is the first definition. Watch this. Strong or barely controllable emotions. A state of outburst or strong emotion. Here's some synonyms: blind rage, anger, temper, towering rage, tantrum, fury, or frenzy. So just let that marinate. And is that something you would want for your life?
No.
No, right. I mean, it's insane.
I'm looking for
right?
like a trick question.
No. No, you guys are gonna love this. No, you guys are gonna love this. How about this definition? A feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from your own achievements, the achievements of those with whom you're closely associated with, like your teams or your friends, or from qualities or gifts you have that are widely admired.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm much more aligned with that.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, you're like, how about this one? A person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance.
Very important, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice, right?
Yeah.
So watch this. So the first definition I told you. So this, the strong and barely controllable emotion. That is the definition of passion.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yes.
So when you look at a hero, the hero does not have that. When I think of strong and barely controllable emotions, or a state of outburst or frenzy or temper and tantrums, that's villainous. That's the villain.
Right.
Now, the definition of finding deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from your own achievements and the achievements of your loved ones, or qualities that you possess that are widely admired. Or another synonym to that is a consciousness of one's own dignity. Ooh, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is the definition of pride.
Wow.
And a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. That is the definition, my friend, of ego.
Ego.
Yeah.
So we were told only to follow our passion. We were told, and I was told, never go down that road of pride and ego. There's the big detour signs. That was the apple we were told never to eat. Never go there. And my parents told me that. The pastor told me that. That comes before the fall. And you know, they meant well because their parents, their teachers, their preachers had told them that. And we were never even allowed. But as a kid, we always were curious. We always wanted to know, well, what's down that road? No, son, never go down there. You don't want, because only bad things happen. Follow your passion. So we were told to just be all over the place, be passionate, not knowing that the hero's path was always pride and ego. Because a hero takes pleasure and satisfaction in their achievement. They believe that their message or what they do, they have a sense of self-esteem, confidence, importance, that their message is worthy of taking out to the masses, or working hard to be able to build that message of their life. And also, along with that, the hero is also self-aware of their weaknesses. And here's the cool thing: in the weakness comes the humility, and the weakness comes the courage. So a hero's path, a hero has pride, a hero has ego, and a hero has humility. And we were never told that. We were always told that that made you a bad human being. That made you a bad person, a sinner, anti-God. You know, that was shunned upon, but not realizing that all heroes possess those qualities that we were told never to go to.
Yeah, and if you talk about, sorry, let me jump in real quick. When you talk about a hero's path, it's generally, if you look at traditional superheroes, their downfall is associated and connected strongly with passionate acts. Everything that they do that leads to their biggest challenges is associated with passion. That's really interesting. I like that.
And no one teaches us this.
No.
I'm telling you, like, and if you're asking, like, how did I get all this stuff? I got all this stuff, guys, because at probably 2 years ago, I was sitting, like, in my office, all the boxes, all of it, guys. Like, you know what I did? It tells us one way of being mediocre, right? It conforms us to be mediocre and status quo. But it also says, but here is what you need to do to become successful. Here's the boxes you need to check. And once you do it, then it's like you made it. So what was those boxes, right? Relationship, check. 2 healthy kids, check. Successful business, check. You know, I hit my, my net worth, hit that number I always wanted, check. Making an impact, check. No debt, check. Financial security, check. All that, check. I hit all the checks. And then, but I was feeling depressed. I was like the Truman Show. I hit the dome, going, well, wait a second, this isn't what I was told. Like, I made it. What's going on? Why do I still feel depressed? Why do I feel that I'm unfulfilled? Why do I feel that there's numbness and unhappiness? And I got scared because I couldn't talk to anybody about this. Like, I didn't want to talk to my wife about this. I'm going to talk to you guys about this because, like, I mean, you would say, well, what's wrong, man? Stop being ungrateful. Like, you did it. And I'm like, I'm not ungrateful. But I honestly, deep down inside, I have this unfinished business, or this beast in this cage. Like, I couldn't put words to it, but I knew I was not feeling good. And I could very easily see in that moment how I could have distracted myself with booze, drugs, affairs, or self-destructive behavior. Because I had these things, yet felt a certain way. And because I couldn't put my finger on why, it would have definitely led me to distract.
Yeah.
And then one day, my son saved me. He's 11 now. I heard him tell his mom in the other room, he goes, hey, mommy? He goes, what happened to daddy? And my son said it in a way like this: that ain't the dude, that ain't the guy, that ain't the world changer, that's not the driver. That, like, he almost like he lost something. He lost his heart. He lost his lion. Oh. He lost his lion heart. And I knew exactly what he meant, and I couldn't hide it anymore. I put on the good fake smile at work. It was easy. And I just kind of secluded myself for about 3 days, and I asked myself, I questioned my purpose. And what I had to realize when I was questioning my purpose, guys, is I was saying the success 101 answers like we all do to ourselves. Like, hey, why do I do what I do? Well, I want to help people. But no, I had to be honest. Really? No, my heart didn't feel it. Do I want to? Yes, I want to help people, but it wasn't the deep why. I want to see people reach their potential. No, that didn't open my heart. And I was just getting frustrated. And I just came out, you know what, man? I just want to be admired for achieving great things and contributing to the world in a way it's never seen before. That's why. That's And it was the only thing that I felt my heart kind of like take that deep breath and relax.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, it was almost like I just wanted to be acknowledged, right? I would just want to be admired for doing these things. So I typed in my phone in admiration, courage, contribution. And because I don't know I'm still trying to find what my body's telling me. And I saw the definition of hero. And the definition of hero was this: one who is admired or idolized for courage, contribution, outrageous achievement, nobility. I looked at that. I'm like, holy crap. I go, that's like a great purpose statement. And I remember I told you we were kids. I was awoken to the fact that I remembered, and all of us would remember because it's in all of us. It's been the signpost of our entire life. I mean, for me, I wore the superhero pajamas. I worked out to look like a superhero. When Mr. America, Mr. Universe to have a title, beat this disease, became a doctor to go save lives. So, but here was the moment. I had the achievements, check. I had the contribution, but this is the one that did it for me. I didn't have the courage to allow myself to be the person I was truly created to be, because I had allowed other people to impose their values upon me. And I really, because of that, was living a secret identity, which was just a less than watered down version of who we really are. And my secret identity was I found my identity in my job. My job was my identity. I found my identity in I would not take gratitude, admiration, or thankfulness from my patients and my peers. I would always hang out in a level of false humility, because I thought it was bad to be anything near pride and ego. And all false humility does, when you don't take grace from other people, is it just lowers your self-esteem, self-value, and self-worth. And so I was never numb, guys. And if you're listening right now and you're feeling numb, you're not depressed, you're not disengaged, you're not unfulfilled. You're just grieving your potential. And so I was grieving my potential the entire time. And when I said the words to you guys right now, I was grieving my potential. Every single person who knows what I'm talking about felt that.
Yeah, and we're all sitting. we're all sitting here. I mean, I'm like, I'm smiling, but it's, man,
we're just like you said earlier in the podcast, you tied it together so well, because you're talking about, you're going to be the person that saves you in the long run. And then, it comes down to the end here, and you're saying, and you're not saving yourself from any external things. You're saving yourself from yourself.
From yourself, yeah.
And that's major for people to understand that. That's such a huge deal.
Are there different archetypes of heroes? I mean, so for instance, are there humble heroes, if that is what you feel, what resonates with you, what gives you energy?
Oh, absolutely. No, the hero has the pride, the ego, because we're so associated. That's why I said the definitions first. So imagine I take the word pride away and ego away, and I just take, so will we say, are there people that are humble and they take pleasure and satisfaction in what they do, and they do have a self-esteem and confidence that their message is important? Absolutely. Right? See, so we're so stuck. See how we've been trained and tattooed that word, like if I just read the definition, then you're like, oh, yeah, there's plenty of people who feel the way. Of course there is. But here's the thing. Let's go to the most humble of them all. Let's talk about Mother Teresa. What I try to tell people is, listen, when it comes to your purpose must be a selfish purpose. That's when my heart lit up again. Why? Because it's your purpose. It's not anybody else's purpose. Mm-hmm. It's been the purpose that you have been given. Inspired comes from within, in you. So therefore, your purpose, we can't expect anybody else to understand our vision, our ideas, our purpose. So it's a selfish purpose. So look at Mother Teresa. As much as she served everybody, we must know that her doing her mission served a selfish need in her. So whether it meant that she felt significant, whether she felt holy, but there was at the end of the day, there is a selfish, which is fine. I call it becoming selfishly unselfish. It's like the greatest gift you could give the world is taking care of you and become the true authentic version of you, and that's when everybody gets the best version of you. So when you realize, like, even Mother Teresa, that's the epitome of the servant, at the end of the day, she was totally satisfying a selfish purpose deep down inside her, and that was fine, because her satisfying that selfish purpose, look at all the amazing people, and we're talking about it right now. Look at all the people she was able to help. So when you look at it that way, when people give themselves permission to say it's okay to take care of me first, Jim Rohn said it best. I love this. Jim Rohn says, "You take care of you for me, and I'll take care of me for you."
Yep, I love that quote.
That's such a like from a lot of the people that we've interviewed, there's been so many similar sentiments in that regard. And like as we near the hour here, I'm so glad we were able to have you on the show, because for our specific audience, those people who are by and large looking to start something, there's so much here for you guys, and I've been honored. I feel so honored to have had you on the show, and I know the other guys do too. But like we've had you for an hour, and our show is about an hour.
Yeah,
I want to go. I mean,
I'll go for.
I'd love to go.
I'll
2
move.
hours, but we won't be
Hey, we'll do a part. Yeah, let's do a part 2 in a couple months.
Absolutely. Well, can you give us one last thing for our listeners, and then we can sign off and tell where everybody can find you and things of that sort.
Yeah. So everybody can find me. So we really talked about really principles that you could apply to your life, no matter, like I said, whether you were going through health, business, relationships, or finances. So I call it the hero secret sauce. I distilled a good 5-6 things that you can actually activate right now and get those things moving. The hero secret sauce, I'm telling you. So if you go to IamHero.com/secrets, just singular secrets, IamHero.com/secrets, you'll get that hero secret sauce. You get some PDFs, some videos from me, really amazing stuff. You'll enjoy it.
Cool.
And there's some other courses you might be able to see on there that would help you if it's relevant for you. And then let's keep the conversation going. So all you have to do is follow me on Instagram or Facebook under Dr. Zaino. So it's DrZaino. And I put out content every single day. We do lives every single day. And I answer all my messages.
I've joined on that content. I mean, we've been in touch for quite some time now. So everything that I've jumped into, everything that we've jumped into as a group, as 5 O'Clock Hustle, has been incredibly valuable. I mean, you're dropping bombs of gold with everything that you release. So I really would say that everyone that's on here really needs to follow Dr. Zaino. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you know why? Remember I said, when I'm talking to you guys in this interview now, how's it make me feel? Why am I so grateful for you guys? Because you gave me what?
We gave you love.
You gave me oxygen.
We gave you oxygen.
Remember?
Yeah. That's right.
I said and so I wasn't bullshitting you, because why do you think I go live every day? What am I getting?
Oxygen.
Yeah.
I'm getting oxygen again. So guys, hopefully you understood that right there. I truly try to stay in the place that I'm the ultimate version of me, because it's like I'm present, I'm an attitude of love, and only good stuff happens there. So that's why it's not hustle, it's not grind. So everybody has that. It's finding it and then executing it. And that's a totally other show. But I could leave you guys with this right now. I want you guys to understand that if you're listening right now, a lot of times we're afraid to move forward because we're afraid of risk and uncertainty. And that's why, because you were trained, that was educated into you. Because remember, we had first grade, then second grade, then third grade, then fourth grade, then fifth grade. So we were society has always given us certainty. And then we were told to go to college just because to extend that. And then after college, we had to get a job. And then before 30, you better get married. And then after that, you got to have kids to check off the boxes. So society has set up the certainty plan for you, and that's what keeps you mediocre. Where I want you to embrace the uncertainty and the unknowns, because in the unknowns, see how I told my story? In the unknowns might in the micro not feel good, but in the macro, they're the blessing, because in the unknown is the ingredients for the next step. of your life. It's in the unknown is that relationship you'll meet. It's that call you have that you meet someone and it introduces you to someone else. In the unknowns is the opportunity, that new idea. In the unknown is where the gold is at. In the unknown is where the next great idea that you have starts to manifest. So if we just stay in certainty, you're going to live in Groundhog Day every single day. You're going to get the same results. But when you embrace the unknown and get out there and meet that person and just change the routine, it'll open up the opportunity to unfold the true life of your desire. So embrace the unknown in whatever you do. So don't be afraid of the risk. In the unknown is where your future always lies, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, man. And think of really everyone just let that like settle in, you know, like let it sink in really heavily. Everything good that has ever happened to you, or at least majority of it, is absolutely like you're saying, Chris. It's in the unknown. It's when you take chances, or when you don't necessarily have expectations. You're open and you let the world come to you, and you go to it, and great things come of it. That's incredible.
Yeah. And, you know, thank you.
And there's never a failure, right? There's never a failure, guys, because we think there's a failure, but there's no failure. It's just contrast. So if I go through something, I didn't like that. Hey, I learned something about myself, right? So you guys are so right. Just if you guys embrace the unknown and live there, that's childlike. It's becoming childlike again. And that's where all the magic happens, for sure.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Dr. Zaino, and everyone. Go follow Dr. Zaino at Dr. Zaino on Instagram, and all the links and everything that he mentioned before are going to be in the show notes. So check that out at 5o'clockhustle.com/
Dr. Zaino.
Dr. Zaino / I am a hero / Chris Zaino.
You're gonna love this episode.
You'll be able to find it. Anyways, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we can't wait to follow you and everything that you do, and
I can't wait for the follow up.
Yeah, part 2, follow up. What is this? The sequel?
There's a lot more to come. There's a lot more.
And in this movie, the sequel is going to be just as good as the original.
That's right.
I feel it.
All right. Well, we'll leave you at this. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Keep hustling, everybody.